Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I have one of my best friends in my chair, and I'm going to show you how to take one of what I find to be one of the harder things to do as a blonde specialist is just maintaining the root. You know, she has about 2.5 inches when she came in today. And then just maintaining it, not overlapping. We're growing her hair back. She was copper. You guys seen that video, going copper, I believe. And then we also did the video of the first session taking her back blonde 2 months later. We did 3 sessions of overlapping. Her hair was a little bit dry. She had a little bit of damage, and now it's growing back, and it has been growing back. We're getting it really healthy again. And it's been a few months since June, since the last time we did it, and we're just maintaining it, keeping it at the color we are, which is beautiful. As you can see, this is the final result. And if you want to see my tips and tricks on how to get not hot rooty when you're maintaining blonde without overlapping and keep it all looking nice and even, then keep watching. Alright guys, welcome back to my channel. So Caitlin's here and we're gonna get started. So she has about 2.5 inches, I'd say, of regrowth, and we're gonna just touch up these roots. And as I said in the video's intro, this can be one of the hardest things to do for me when I'm doing maintenance on a blonde, especially one that I do a dimensional stitch on. So as you see, I'm not doing my typical baby light, what I call my sinful stitch, which is almost like slicing. I'm literally doing a typical up and down motioned stitch. And I still, when I'm doing my sinful foiling technique, I still am doing that. This is still back to back. Only thing left out is the reserve from the stitch. And as you can see, she has dimension. So why I find this so tricky is that if I just go in and touch that 2.5 inches of regrowth, you're gonna see the dark start out of nowhere. It's gonna have like that root and then a dark start. And it can lead to polka dot. It can lead to all kinds of weirdness. So I always do and always will go down into the subsection from the last time we highlighted at least once, and I do that every time, and then I leave the ends out so I'm not overlapping, but I like to at least feather down into that old subsection where the reserve was left out last time we touched up the roots, so it kind of blends it down a little bit better. This is also why I'm such a fan of doing a root toner. Even if you're doing a tap, shadow, smudge, doesn't matter. Even if you don't want any depth at the root, doing it for even results is a game changer, because we all know that that new hair is going to lift beautifully and the ends are not being bleached. They're going to look dingy, and there's nothing more tacky than watching a blonde walk by me and having bright blonde at the top, and then as it goes down it gets more like yellowy in the mid, and then the ends get even more orangey. And that all occurs and transpires because the fresh root is being bleached more recent and the ends have not been bleached recent. And we all know that what happens over time is that the hair's underlying pigment, they try to cling back together again to make the hair healthy. And the more you're doing conditioning masks and doing things to keep the hair healthy, it ends up clinging them back together, and that underlying pigment starts forming together, which makes the hair healthy, but it also ends up causing that brass color that we do not like. The longer it goes, the more brassier to orange it will get. So I am going in using my favorite K18. We prepped our hair with that to keep it as healthy as possible. As I mentioned in the intro earlier, this is the 4th highlighting session since Caitlin went copper. We left it for about 2 months, then she came back quickly saying, all right, I regretted it, you're right. She knew her hair could be compromised going back to blonde. We're not pushing anything to the limits. We did 3 full highlights back to back to back. Her hair did have a lot of compromised issues, you know, broken parts, damage. The hairlines on the sides were very, very vulnerable. So today I'm being extra super careful not to do any overlapping or unnecessary overlapping. So like I said, that's why today's video I decided to shoot, to really focus on just touching the root and the subsection and keeping those ends out. You'll see how the toner and root shadow all come together to make it look really even. And my foil placement, I am going in and I'm doing a bricklay pattern. She has a really unique hairline, so I have to do detail work on that front piece because the way her part is, and it's been her whole life, is very challenging, but no hairlines are the same, no two blondes are the same. So every client deserves their own unique, customized hairline foiling process. I am going up horizontally on the front section so we can see more of that dimension. As you see, I'm continuing my dimensional stitch. We're still doing the sinful technique back to back. The only thing left out is the reserve from the stitch. So it's still plenty of foils. We're doing a half. We don't need to do a full thing. I want to keep her hair as healthy as possible. Just touch up those roots. Keep her looking real good for the fall and holiday season. We are using my Holy Grail lightener, Schwarzkopf Blonde Me 20 volume. I have not had any swelling for the last month and a half. I am so happy to say I finally broke the code and I finally got the quest done on how to get Schwarzkopf Blonde Me not to swell. I will update you guys on my tips and tricks for that in a future video.
Feels like I've been doing way too much, babe. Feels like I've been working through your stuff, babe. Over time, lately it's been getting kind of tough, babe. Feels like
Something I do want to mention to you guys is it is very important to me, at least in my honest opinion, doing blondes every day for almost 6 years now. When I am doing a dimensional stitch, which let me just add, I did not do for the first 2-3 years of my career. I was always baby lights, baby lights, baby lights, baby lights, because I love the way they look. I love the way they grow in, and it looks so natural growing out of the head. But some clients do like to see a little bit more dimension. I have actually recently offered the partial, half, and full regular highlight option on my menu for services because some people don't want the back-to-back that I do, and that's totally fine. I'm more open to that now, but 95% of my clients do my sinful technique, which is back-to-back. But let me just say this. Every single client, whether they want the dimensional stitch or the baby light stitch, I always do baby lights around the hairline. Always, always, always. I see a lot of the people I look up to as mentors, you know, they'll say they always do a stitch around the hairline. It grows in better and it breaks it up. I find it different. I find if I do a stitch that's a dimensional stitch, it almost leaves gapes of holes. I don't know. It could just be me, but that's how I feel. So even if it's a dimensional stitch, I do baby lights around the hairline.
say something, something, 'cause we don't talk about nothing no more. No, nothing, nothing.
Also, if you pay close attention when I'm applying my product, I do start down about 1 inch to 2 and I work my way up with the bulk of that product first. Then I'll take my brush, I'll go down through that old subsection from the last foil, and I kind of almost like quickly blend my brush down, like just swipe over it. That's going to be a main importance because that's going to stop it from having a disconnect. We want it to blend all the way down, all the way through without over damaging the hair and going all the way through the ends and fully saturating. Saturation is rule number 1. It's all about the saturation. If you do add more saturation, you'll get more of a lift. So I just want a blending agent right after that subsection. That's going to be a key ingredient to stop the hair from having dark spots and polka dots begin out of nowhere. I am mixing up my toners now. For her root shadow, I'm doing 6N, 6NA, Rec and Shades EQ. And for her global toner, one of my favorite formulas is 9GB, 9P for that perfect neutral-like creamy beige.
Do you not care about nothing no more? It's like we're fighting. Do you even want it? Do you feel you need this? Do you even feel it? Fighting for a lost cause, or am I fighting for us? Just tell me.
when it comes to doing a dimensional stitch, I always a root tap or shadow or smudge on that root area. Only my Sinful Baby Light technique, I will leave my roots completely untouched if they lifted perfectly. This is an importance when it comes to just maintenancing, because now we're going to actually bring that shadow down. And this is why it's important for your clients to come at a decent time, because if it's grown out 4 to 5 inches, it's kind of hard to just do a shadow 1 to 2 inches, because you're going to have that 2 inches that are going to look brighter before the ends. So when you're doing maintenance, it's important to do the root shadow, a tap or smudge, and then blend that toner on the ends afterwards and let everything apply together for a certain amount of time. Keep your eye on it. There's no set time for me when it comes to toning, but I do have a treatment on the ends at all times. If I'm using K18, I will do a conditioning mask or the part 2. But it's always important to have something on there because it kind of slows it down a little bit. Like I said, we're maintenancing. We're not taking her any lighter. Another ingredient of a perfect result is for a client who wants to keep their hair as healthy as possible to stick to a level 9. Because if you're going to get up there in the 10s, you got to feather through almost every other session. That's when breakage is more likely to happen. Caitlin and I love her as a level 9. This is her color. It's beautiful. It's bright. Gets brighter over time. And we have to let that whole thing sit and process so it brings that top down enough to make everything look cohesive and all the way roots to ends looks all like one blonde tone. Barely any damage at all whatsoever. Actually, none. There was just like 3 hairs in the brush, which happens when you wash your hair every day. You have, shedding. That's common. Caitlin's on the way back to healthy hair again and a color she loves that we always loved on her. Let me know what you think about these results. And just look, no polka dots or weird dark spots. Leave video ideas down below, you guys. I am going to be back full time on YouTube and I want to know what you guys want to see. And I want to make sure you guys like, share, subscribe, push the channel. A lot of great things are coming. I want to start posting. A new schedule will be announced in the next few weeks. I love you guys so much. As always, so long for now, guys. Mwah.